Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
What's up, everybody? It's the Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your what?
Money.
Hey, what's up, ladies? How y'all doing today? Happy Wednesday. It's time to get over the hump, ladies. What's going on? Y'all good?
Yes. Hello.
Good. So listen, we're going to talk today about a young woman's video. It went viral after she shared the harsh reality of parenting young. But I can tell you from personal experience, parenting old is not that easy either. She is 23 and she's raising 3 kids, all with the same father who only shows up when it's convenient. Better than not showing up at all. And she's left making it do what little he gives. She also revealed that the stress and depression got so heavy that she even considered ending her life, which is a tragedy in and of itself. She speaks out just to warn other young women that love alone isn't enough. In this episode, we're going to dig deep into financial, emotional, and generational impact of early motherhood. We'll talk money, choosing partners wisely, how childhood trauma shows up in relationships, and the role fathers play, whether they're present or absent. This is real talk about responsibility, about survival, and about making choices that actually honor your future. So, we have the most amazing queens on the planet with us today, the ones who absolutely are the right ones to talk about this topic. We have Dr. SEW. What's happening, Miss Sabrina? You good?
Good. Hey.
All right. And then we have Miss Black Hollywood herself. How you doing, Mama? You good?
I'm all right. I'm a little under the weather after A, B, and C. I turned up a little. You had me outside a little too long.
Listen.
I'm all right.
I must got the immune system of steel because I'm good. And then we got the B.Big. Coach. Hey, the B.Big. Coach. What to say? What is up, Dr. Felice? We missed you. We didn't see all of us were A, B, and C. I'm so sad that we didn't see you there. How you doing, Mama?
I'm good. I plan on showing up at the Power Network experience, though.
Okay. Good. Then we'll see you there. So listen, let me first ask you a question. Anybody here ever been a single mother? Yeah. How'd that happen?
Not really it just it's so weird. It happens, and I probably had some power in choosing the right partner, right? Like you just got to be careful. But he never intended on really being a full-time dad with my daughter, and so I had to make a really, really powerful choice because I could feel the possible pain coming by him being inconsistent. You know, saying that he was going to come and wouldn't show up. And it was happening when she was real little. And you know how excited little children are when they think they're going to see their father. And then when they don't come, you take on that pain too. And so I just saw the repeated behavior of him not showing up consistently or when he promised. And so I made the choice of saying, you know what, don't even worry. I just didn't want that to be the model. And I didn't want her to be okay with becoming familiar with the man being able to break his promises to her. I didn't want that for her. I didn't want to do that. And so I made the choice of saying, you know what, don't even worry about it. And
he didn't?
He didn't, like, and which is really powerful too, because no matter what I said, I know had that been me on the other end, you couldn't stop me from showing up for my child. I would have been like, no, you can't do that. And I wouldn't have complied. But he was very much in compliance. And it was hurtful. But in the long run, I'm just telling you this right now, y'all. In the long run, it was better for my daughter that she didn't have that modeling of inconsistency. And so yeah, that was a choice I made. It was a hard choice. I'm not saying that it was easy. It was difficult.
This is a on-time conversation. What about you, Tiara or Dr. Sabrina? Either of you?
I'm a single woman, but I'm not a single mother, thankfully. I am not with the father of my daughter, but we co-parent really well. He does not miss the opening of an envelope. When I'm off working 5, 6, 10 days, he'd be like, well, bring my kid. Like, if nothing else, I'm picking her up. He's the one that's like, she doesn't have lunch. All right, well, I'm about to run to Chick-fil-A. Like, he is the overprotector. So I'm so grateful for him. Although we didn't work out as a couple, he is amazing to our daughter.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll say I was married, y'all. I was married so I was with my ex for 23 years, together 30 years. So when we were married, he was present. He's no longer present. So actually, I just got off the phone with 2 of my children who just got a phone with their dad. And when I tell you, he does absolutely nothing at all. And it's sad but here's the thing, when you talk about, I had to make a decision. So this is why I said this conversation is right on time, because the way my parents parent and my parents are always like, you don't disrespect your other parent. My mom always big up in my dad always big up in my mom, ain't no disrespect. And then they are always encouraging my children, spend time with your dad, go see your dad, even though my kids are like, right. So I modeled that. So I do the same thing. You don't want to. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, if this man is not adding value in your life, if he is causing you pain and he is, and these low vibrational negativity, and you say, every time I talk to him, he makes me feel bad. Yeah. Every time I talk to him, it's always negativity. He doesn't pour anything positive because he thinks they just want money, which he doesn't give. But parenting is more than money. It is money. Yeah. Because these Negroes is expensive and I got to basically pay for them by myself. But it's not just that, it's being there. Like, he has no idea what's going on with my children. And he's like, you got this conversation he just had an hour ago. Y'all grown. Okay. I have 2 in college. So just because they're over 18 doesn't mean that they don't need the help from their parent. And then I have one that's under 18. Like, can you buy the Negro a pair of drawers? Something? You know what I'm saying? So so I had to say, today, I'm no longer going to force you or encourage you, because I don't force them, encourage you to have a relationship with this man, because if it doesn't bring value in your life, listen, I'm not going to, subject you to all of this mental anguish that you're going through just because I think it's the right thing to do. You need to cut him off, cut that Negro off. That's where I'm at.
Do you think it's because is it a bitterness towards you that he
yes.
put out on the children?
It's that, but it's also, I don't know. I mean, I wish he loved them more than he hated me, but even more than that, he thinks, oh, she got it, but it's more than money. It's like support. Yeah. It's, he's there and he's close to Jackson, and my son needs him. He's like, hey, Dad, can you help me with this? My other son just wrote to him this long letter last week and was like, now I really see that the only reason why you were a parent was because my mom made you. And now that you no longer have to be. And he said, that's what hurts the most. Every time I call you to ask you for something, I feel like it's a burden. And that's what hurts me. This is a text that he sent to me and his dad. And it was really sad. And I felt bad because he's like, every single time that I need you to come through, you don't. Mm-hmm. And so, it's sad, but I'm like, and what's crazy is my daughter met a young man at ABC, and his father was actually pouring into her, and she was like, wow, this is what it's like to have a man. I feel bad because I'm like, damn, I chose this dude, even though it was before my prefrontal cortex was developed. I still chose that for my children, and that's what makes me sad. But anyway, I vent because this is just fresh. It just happened like within the last hour. Let's go ahead and go to the video because I want to see what this young lady is talking about.
I tell you young girls what nobody's going to tell you. You got fucking 3 kids at 24 years old. You're getting ready to struggle. You're getting ready to cry. You're getting ready to be depressed. You're getting ready to want to...
Hey, it's me. I'm her. I'm the girl that she's talking about in the video. I'm not specifically, I don't know her. She doesn't know me. So she's not talking about me, but I can relate. I'm 23 and I have 3 kids and I'm fucking struggling. This shit is not peaches and rainbows. This shit is hard. I would not wish this life on my worst enemy. The life that you pictured and had and wanted and was promised, you're not going to get it, babe. Let it the fuck go. Some people do get lucky and they have men that stick around or have this big village. A lot of us aren't lucky like that. Like I said, I have friends that could drop their baby off to anybody. Guess what? They got 1 baby or 2 babies. I have 3 kids. Don't nobody want to watch 3 kids, 3 little babies that still need their diaper change. Nobody want to do it. Sorry. Everybody that was when you was pregnant, oh, I'm going to get the baby, I'm going to do this for the baby. What are people at? Them people don't give no fuck. Like she said, there's going to be times when you off yourself. Y'all look at this. Literally. I stayed in the hospital for a whole fucking week because I had an overdose. I overdosed because I literally did not want to be here no more. I didn't have a pulse for 11 something, almost 12 minutes because I didn't want to be here. I felt like this it's not worth being here because guess what? Yes, I cry myself to sleep most nights. Most nights I am fucking stressed. My hair's falling out. Y'all have videos. I'm insert them if y'all want to see them, but I should not be 23 literally brushing my hair to the point my shit falling out. I got to keep cutting my hair. This is not the life I wish on my worst enemy. And yes, this shit get ugly. And yes, I post, and yes, all that. But behind closed doors, this shit is ugly as hell. I would not wish this shit on nobody at all. Like she said, don't have no fucking kids. Love is not enough. These niggas don't give no fuck. They don't care. And I have 1 baby daddy. I don't have multiple baby. I have 1 baby daddy. That nigga don't give a fuck. That nigga be around when it's beneficial. That nigga be around when the shit going, when he feel like when he need me. That's what it really is. Fuck, as long as a motherfucker accepting the bare minimum, we cool. And it feel like for me, on the flip end of that, I be accepting the bare minimum and the little pieces of shit because I just be wanting to help. Because guess what? I don't got no big village of people that's gonna come and stuff for me and my kids. Fuck, so I'm accepting the littlest fucking piece of shit. Fuck, over nothing, just for some fucking help. Because guess what? When I ain't accepting that, the nigga gone, disappear. Where the fuck he at now? Fuck, on with the next bitch and her kid. It's really mind-blowing to me. And only thing I gotta say is y'all listen to her. This shit is really fucking hard. Nobody cares. The same nigga that you land on your back for don't even give a fuck if you eating at night. Fuck. Same nigga that you doing all this for can't even help you fucking your kids move. Like, y'all, some people do get lucky. Some people, like I said, some people get lucky, and some people do have this fantasy life, and some people get lucky and blessed with good men, but y'all, it's not worth it. Look at me. I look a fucking...
So, Dr. Felice, is this about the children or is this about the man?
I think this is about the children.
No.
It's hard. It's a dynamic, right? Like she's realizing that what her choices have done and what her choices really look like in real life. You know, her choosing the man or the men that she chooses to engage with. And now she's the one stuck with all of the responsibility and then realizing that she has no village. And some of that is, like she even said, some of that is understandable because 3 kids in diapers, like that's hard to find support for 3. And so she realizes what her choices look like now, and she's incapable of really meeting the needs of her responsibilities in a way that keeps her mentally sound. And so it's really about ultimately her choices.
Okay. What would you say? What kind of advice would you give her, Dr. Sabrina?
Parenting is hard. Even when you have someone to help you, it's hard. And I think, you know, even though the village that she is seeking may not be as she envisioned it, there are people out there that will help. Now, finding them, you know, may be kind of tough, but the reality is the first and foremost, she has got to think about her mental health. If she's already thinking about hurting herself, then she's not in a good space to really be trying to take care of those kids right now. So, you know, she may have to do the hard thing, you know, give them up, put them with foster parents for a while until she gets herself together. But the reality is, if you're not good, you can't pour from a cup that's empty. You cannot do that. And Our children deserve better. They deserve better from both the mother and the father.
Yeah. Tiara, how's your mic? Is your mic? Oh, where'd Tiara go? Oh, Tiara's not here. What do you think? For you, I'll ask you, Dr. Felice. What are the hardest realities that young single mothers face when they're raising their children alone?
The emotional toil that it takes on you. First, your choice, that you're one of the primary reasons you're in that spot. Then the fact that how hard it is. Like, people don't understand the challenge it is to being a single parent. When the reality hits that it's just you that is the one that's going to make sure they eat. It's you that's going to make sure that they have a shelter, just the basics.
Yeah.
And add on if they sick, and you're the only one that has to be out of work because they can't go to school because the school's not going to let them in, but you have nobody else to make sure. And then you got the pressures of your job saying, well, I don't care if your child's, like, all of those dynamics that come with being a single parent. It's real, and it could play an emotional toll on you. And where do you go when you have no village?
Where do you go?
And so it's
$1 million question.
I heard her, I felt her, been there, but like could write it, like wrote the book. Like, it's not easy. And really, she has to find a way to get some kind of support and resources to help her to manage all of that. Because before you can even start on your mental, you must get your basic needs met first. I can't help you figure out how you're feeling and your rent is due and you don't know how that's going to get paid. Like, you got to pay the rent first before we even begin with the mental and how to handle that. And so your basic needs have to be met first before she can even go to a therapist.
Yeah. I also think those choices that she made, she made a decision to be with this man that probably wasn't shit, because you don't just wake up and not be shit. So there was probably some red flags down the line, and then she went and had another baby and another baby and another baby, and then now he's on to, because when she mentioned he on to the next one, take care of somebody, and so that also is really like, you got the nerve, you got these kids over here, you doing nothing for, now you over there, because I see that a lot with a lot of women. You got the nerve to go take care of somebody else's kids, the nerve, the daring nerve. So that's also a thing as well, which is probably affects her mental. But we'll talk more about it when we come back from the commercial.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So I'm gonna go back and ask you, welcome back, Miss Black Hollywood. How you doing today? You good? You with us?
I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Hello, everybody.
So Dr. Felice talked about, that support that we, that a lot of us, before we can even get the village, our basic needs need to be met. What kind of support systems, like maybe family, community, government programs, make the biggest difference in the lives of single mothers?
Yeah, thankfully, I literally, between working and having a father that is present, I really don't I haven't had to go and like find those resources, thankfully. So I'm not really sure, but I do call my mom and I do call my aunt. I really just cling to my own family. The only thing I've really had, actually, I can say this, us living in California and my family being in the South and on the East Coast, I've had to rely on his family a whole lot. You know, his mother is here. She is mother, uncles, cousins, and so I've definitely just used them as a part of my extended family. They are our village, and you know they are his family. So that has been my experience. I haven't had to go and find funding or anything like that, thankfully.
Thank God. Sure. It's
Praise
hard
God.
out here. It's hard out here for a pimp.
Right.
So if you just tuned in, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about this young mom of three shares the struggles of being single. She said, don't have no effing kids because love is not enough. What say you in the comments? You know, any single mothers out there that may be struggling, or do you have any stories that you want to share about maybe your baby father is not in your child's life? Like, what is going on and how did you get there? You know, like I said, for me, I was married, so that wasn't the plan, but it ended up being a plan for me, you know, 30 years later. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that, you know, somebody could just be there. One thing my daughter said one time is, I would have rather never had a father than to have had a father and then him no longer be present in my life. I wish he just was never there in the first place. I was like, oh, that killed my life, because it's like, you know, and then again, I feel partially responsible because I chose the Negro. But let's take a look at this other video that we have here.
A baby daddy will have you thinking the mother of his child is a clown. The whole time she's a boss and he's the bum. Let's be real. You are the mother out here standing on business, showing up every day and taking care of your kids. And he makes every excuse for why he can't step up as a father to his children and handle his responsibilities. Meanwhile, he's telling his new girl how bad of a mother you are, and she's smiling like she just won the lottery. 2 clowns, 1 circus.
So, Dr. Sabrina, why do you think that so many men think that being a parent is an option?
Good question. Why do they think that?
In your experience, do you have anybody in your life who thinks that parenting is an option? And why do they think that? Why do some men, I won't say so many, but why do some men think that parenting is an option? And it's not just Black men, because it's some
Right.
areas.
Right. There's an old saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And to be honest with you, you know, you guys know I like to be 100 with you, very transparent. I remember being a married mom with a husband, but it felt totally different for me. I didn't have the option to do a lot of things, and I even think that my husband has options to do. So, for example, a lot of times my children will come to me. They will call me for things, and I think, you have a mom and a dad. You know, children that nurturing certain things that we just do because we are mom. Our children tend to depend on us a lot, especially when they're younger. But then when they get, you know, older in the formative years, I think it is important for dads to step up and to show up and to be present. Now, why they choose not to do so, that would be a good question, I guess, to pose to a man, because I don't know what goes on in a man's mind that allows him to think that parenting is an option for him. Perhaps it may be because they didn't see that was not modeled for them. It's kind of hard to do something that you've never done. If you had not had any role models, you may feel like you're going to fail at it. You're not going to do it well. So you tend to step back. I'd rather not be engaged than to fail at it and look like a failure. But the reality is, you know, and I tell my husband this all the time, we both became parents at the same time. You know, I didn't have any more experience than you had at it. We're just trying to figure this thing out. Yeah. And so a lot of times you'll hear people say, I can't speak to this because I don't have any grandchildren, but you'll hear people say they feel like they got a second chance when they have grandkids because all the things that they didn't know how to do, didn't quite get right the first go around, they have a chance to correct that with the grandchildren. But, to your point, some people feel like it is an option. And once you've made that decision, that's where the option came in, Constance, to be honest. You have the option when you're making the decision. Once the deed is done, there are no options.
There are no options. Somebody said because men are natural providers and protectors, men are not natural providers and protectors. We're lied to. And I remember I would see like people that I knew women who weren't taking care of their kids. And for me, that is one of the most lowest women that you could, like a woman who doesn't take care of her kids. Cause I would see that up close and personal. I know a couple of women who didn't. And I used to just think, how can a woman not take care of their kids? Not knowing, a couple of years later, I would have their dad not doing the same thing. But I just think it's one of the lowest things that a person can do is say that, I opt not to, even though I created this child, or having the delusion to think that what you're doing is enough when you're not doing anything. But I want to pose the same question to you, Dr. Felice, that I posed to Miss Black Hollywood. What was that question I said to you? What was the question? What
assistance?
Yeah, no. Actually, the one I said to Sabrina, what's the hardest realities that young single mothers face when raising children alone?
So first, I want to go back to what you said too about it's hard to see women who don't take care of their children. Sometimes the best thing that some people can do is just be the vessel. The vessel to get the child here is enough for Anna, right? Because what people don't take into consideration that every time you lie down, man and female, you have the ability to procreate. And so when you lay down with not understanding that responsibility and the possible outcomes, that alone is a sign of immaturity, right? And carelessness. And so with that carelessness doesn't mean necessarily that those people are meant or want to be parents. Everybody is not a parent. And everybody doesn't want to be a parent, but some of them choose to bring that child forth so that they can have an opportunity to pursue their purpose, plan, and call on life. Right. And sometimes that's their best. So with that being said, some of the reasons why I think, or some of the things that are hard is I knew for me was the guilt that I carried. Knowing that I couldn't show up as a man and a woman for my child. And so that was very hard for me. What was hard for me was the heartbreak that my daughter would experience from the broken promise. That is what was difficult for me. And me trying to overcompensate in other ways took a toll on me and zapped my energy. And so I really depended upon the goodness of friends. I depended upon the goodness of my church family. Like my church family really, my pastor and parishioners really helped me fill in those gaps. Like they had things for my daughter to be a part of where people would love on her and lift her up and shower her with certain things that I couldn't give her. So I really depend, even though it was a limited village, it got us through. So I took the limits. So whatever that was available to me, I took it and I embraced it. And I communicated with my daughter at all times when we would go through those challenges. Because there was certain, I had little respites where sometimes she was good and my love was enough. And then when it wasn't, I had to communicate with her and I had to turn to my village for support about, okay, what do I do at this juncture? And how do I get through this? And I would talk her through that. And so we got through, the best way we knew how. But that was, and I did experience financial difficulties. And, where I told people all the time, I was robbing a disciple a month. There was 12 and I pick and choose what disciple that month, and then I would ask for forgiveness for the stealing. And so I just had to do and make do with what I had at those times.
But you are here. And that's what it sounds like. It sounds like she needs some type of support system, maybe a church family that she can go to, or some other type of group or village. There's lots of support out there. I think she probably should seek the advice of some type of support. But let's go to the next, let's go to a commercial, and we'll talk more about it when we get back.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
So if you just tuned in, we are talking about how this young single mom, she's sharing how she struggles to take care of 3 children. And she said, listen, don't have no effing kids because love is not enough. So I want to ask you all, I think we all know the answer to this. Is love enough? And is it really love? Because love is more than just a feeling. It's an action. It is, what is that person? Who is that person? It's the fruits of the spirit. It's, it's what you do and not what you say and how you feel, not just how you feel. So I think a lot of people get caught up in the idea of love, and then, then they end up on their back on some shit that they probably will regret for the rest of their lives. Let's take a look at some stats before we go to the next video. So young mothers aged 20 to 24 are more likely to live in poverty than older mothers. Did you guys know that? Yeah, it makes sense. Give us another one. Over 60% of single mothers report financial struggles as a primary stressor. Children in single parent homes are twice as likely to experience economic hardship. Sad. Early motherhood often correlates with interrupted education and limited earning potential. Social media often presents a highlight reel of motherhood masking financial and emotional challenges. You know what? Have you, I saw somewhere, maybe I read it in a statistic, Felice and Dr. Sabrina, maybe you could speak to this, and also you, Ms. Black Hollywood, but they said children in single parent households, children that are raised by men turn out to be, more successful, more well-rounded. Is that a true statement? What would you say, Dr. Sabrina? Have you heard that?
I haven't heard that, but I don't find that hard to believe when we look at maybe even pay disparities. I could see that among men, between men and women, I could see that may be possible. And I'm listening to the conversation again. The thing that I really want a lot of our listeners to take away from is something that Dr. Felice said earlier about a single mother that has the struggle of taking care of the kids, but also meeting the right here, right now needs. One of the things we're dealing with right here in Jackson, Mississippi today is just an epidemic of women who are homeless, essentially. They live in extended stay hotels here locally because they have nowhere else to go. They have nothing else. About 2 months ago, we literally had a woman that gave birth on the streets, downtown Jackson, Mississippi. That's how bad this stuff is getting out here. And so to engage in this conversation, this would be something that young women across America, young Black women across America are able to hear and really, really understand that this thing is real. And that when we make certain decisions, you know, the pathway forward is already laid out. We don't have to guess how it's going to turn out. It's already laid out. And so you don't have to make the same quote unquote mistake that other people are making. You're making a choice at this point. But I don't wish it on anybody because it is hard. And again, I keep echoing, it's hard when there are two of us trying to do this. So I can only imagine, and my heart goes out to those that are trying to do it by themselves, these young mothers.
Yo, listen, Anonymous said Jackson, Mississippi is a poor state in the union, which is true. And Jackson, Mississippi is not a real place. My son just called me an hour ago. He's like, Mom, I got into an accident at the car wash. Somebody bumped into him. He got a little bitty dent. This lady who bumped into him at the car wash, she said, we can get $10,000. They took her ass out on the stretcher. Her ass called the ambulance. He got a bump like this. She called the ambulance. This is a few minutes ago. They took her ass out on the stretcher. I said, boy, I was on the phone with him. Boy, you better not get your ass on. She said, we can get paid. Boy, you better not get your ass in that ambulance. Anyway, so for you, Tiara, do you find or have you seen that men who are like single parent households where there's a man involved that the children come out to be more well-rounded?
Just watching my daughter with her father, right? Like her dad is the disciplinarian. He is a lot of the time the one that's, the leader, right? I allow him to kind of lead us. In the beginning, before we had our baby, or when I found out I was pregnant, we sat down and we really talked about it. And he was like, listen, I want my daughter, or we didn't know it was a daughter. He was like, I want my baby. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna make you this promise that whatever happens, I'm gonna take care of them. And I know that's a risk, but once I never felt unsure about that. He could have flipped it, but he never did. And so anyway, just having him there to kind of the way he kind of talks to her and kind of leads her, and really allowing him to lead us, even though he is not my partner. We got a unit. There's no way around it. Until she graduated, we got a unit of some sort. So I kind of let it be what it is. But I noticed that my daughter is much more confident. She's much more, we'll be somewhere. She'll be like, my dad says, I noticed that, we could be somewhere. She'd be like, actually, my dad taught me that. I'd be like, okay. I told you that too, girl.
And it's okay, right? It's okay.
It's okay. I would rather her say that than not. And he always shows up for her and all of that. So I guess my point is, I see me growing up without a father, but having uncles and having an experience with male role models, but just watching how she has been nurtured, and she thrives. She thrives with both. So I can just say that I think that is true.
I can say, I have a still to this day, a present father. And what I understand is parenting don't stop when you turn 18, 20, 25, 30. My dad called me. Y'all know, if I be cussing on here, my dad be like, Nisha, you was doing good until you start doing all that cussing. Stop all that cuss. I get in trouble. I was talking about somebody the other day with my siblings on a little group thread. My daddy called me, stop all that talk about people. Just because you grown, it don't mean that you stop being a parent. And I could say my dad was always the one sitting on the front row at every honors award ceremony that I had. Every time I played the cello, every banquet that I had, anything that I was involved in, my father was there. And I definitely attribute that to my success today because I had a present father, and it's so necessary. And it's unfortunate because my kids don't get to experience what I experienced in having a great father. Now my mom is cool too. She wasn't as present as my dad, but my dad picked up the slack, and that was definitely the differentiator for me, I think, in my life, was having a great father.
Can I speak to that too?
Of course.
I think there's something about a father's love when he's decided to be present. Mm-hmm. That is powerful and so necessary. And if our men just understood their power, and it's that love power. When Black men decide to love, how it shapes and changes their children, their families as a whole. We need our men. And we need them to decide to show up in the power of their love and what it can do and how it's transformative.
Yeah,
and
man.
so I do believe that when you have a man who has decided to show up in love for their children, there is a difference.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It doesn't mean that it's better. It's just different. And it shows up a different way in their children. They have a higher sense of confidence, I think, when they know that their dad is on the scene. They have a higher sense of safety and security when they know their dad is on the scene. Men are meticulous and they're not multitaskers like us.
Yeah.
Like, we try and take on all the things. So we watching the kid, we cooking. Men, when they doing something, they doing that. So when they are with their child, they are very, not all, I'm not saying across the board, but many times they are present. They're more present than we are. Can you imagine what that feels like in a child's life to have a present dad?
Man, it's dope.
Right? It's dope. And so, oh my gosh, the power of men when they decide to show up in their love and what it means. So absolutely, I can see that.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Anonymous said that's only for girls. The boys have to go out on their own, not for us. So my dad is the present dad for me, my brothers, my sister. My brother is over there helping my dad. He still goes over there and helps him mow the lawn. My dad go to my brother's house and he that's just how my dad raised us. So my father didn't say, "Oh boy, you go." I mean, he's harder on my son, right? He's harder on my son, my brother. He's he treats my son like a man, but still there. That Negro is 8 years older than me. So that means he's 57 and my dad still be on his helmet too. So, I mean, it's until the day he dies, until the day we die, we are parents to our children. Let's go to our next video.
A baby daddy will have.
It literally grinds my gears when y'all tell single mothers to take accountability. Bro, me taking care of the freaking child or the children is taking accountability. Do y'all not know what the fuck accountability looks like? Y'all don't know? It is when you take action against a decision you made. If it had ill consequences, you are dealing with it. You're actionable things, i.e. taking care of said child/children. And I know y'all saw homegirl crying early this morning or last night or whatever, and she got the 3 kids and all the drama, right? And so the one girl was like, why, if you couldn't afford the first kid or the second, why did you have the third? The girl said the first 2, she was like barely holding on, and she acknowledged that, and she told him that. And you know what I'm saying? The fact that he was a good man to her other kids, she didn't feel the need to put up, you know what I'm saying, to stop a pregnancy from happening with him or having a third child because she.
This is called enabling bad behavior. This is the reason why people feel valid and not taking responsibility, because that same girl that she was talking about, she was pissed at me for even bringing out or pointing out the fact that she was a 3-time single baby mama who kids are the ones that's going to suffer as a result of. See, they think that taking responsibility is the fact that you're still a mother. It's not, because she was making excuses as to why her behavior was valid. That's not taking responsibility. And then what happens is you start to blame other people. She was blaming her baby fathers for her plight and her situation, instead of saying, you know what, I opened up my legs, I messed up, I shouldn't have did it, so on and so forth. And then she started to get cash apps. You know what wound up happening? She started to get a bunch of cash apps, and then she had other people paying for her daycare and stuff like that. And then she looked up and she was like, hey, man, my account's still in the negative. Somebody scam me. And then it was back to this vicious cycle, which the children are.
So I guess the question is, Queens, it's like, is there a blame game, right? They're actually, the first young lady that was talking, we actually obviously responded to I don't know the first lady's I didn't watch that whole video, but the young lady that we modeled this episode off of basically said, hey, listen, I have 3 children, they're all in diapers. Is it her fault that she kept having a baby? Like, who should we hold accountable? Is it a blame game, or what do you ladies think? What do you think, Dr. Sabrina?
I won't say, I don't like to say fault. I'm not going to say that. But I will say she made a conscious choice. She made a conscious choice to continue having children, because the reality is we all know how to get them. We know where they come from. We are grown enough to know what it takes to get them, but we also know what it takes to stop them from coming as well. And so I think that's a conversation that we got to start having with these young women. It's one thing when you have one, but when you continue having children, I remember that young lady also saying it may be easy to get somebody to keep one, but when you have 2, 3, 4 people, not just opening up the door to say, bring all those little kids over here. It's expensive for everybody out here. So I do think that you have to make some conscious choices. Once you have that one, give yourself the chance. Basically, the old folks used to say, give yourself a chance to heal. You got 3 kids and they all still in diapers. That means you didn't even give yourself time to heal up. So no. I think she's doing that. But yes, I think she made a choice in continuing to have children, because at the end of the day, she's the one that stuck with all those kids, not him. My take on it.
Dr. Felice, okay. So what do you wish somebody would have told you when you were young and having you had a young daughter, you were a young mother having a daughter? What do you wish somebody would have sat down and said to you before? Like, what are something that we can tell these young girls? What conversations should I be having with my daughter now? Well, we have a lot of conversations, but what would you say to the young girls and your young self?
So I'm going to be very transparent. I grew up in a very, faith-filled home. I knew, or we believe, you don't have sex until marriage. Like that's how I was raised. And I made a conscious decision to engage in it. But I got pregnant using protection. Okay. Yes. And so I'm an example of protection is not 100. Okay. And so I tried to do the mature thing. What I would say is that we start teaching these girls self-love right out the gate. And what does it mean about self-love? Self-love also looks like advocating for self, respecting your temple, knowing that sex is a very mature and responsible act and decision, and what those possible outcomes can look like. And so what does that mean? You hold somebody accountable by saying, hey, you've got to have protection, or you've got to have boundaries and guidelines by which you are going to engage in a very mature and responsible act. And then also know that if anything goes awry with your responsibility, how are you going to choose to show up for that? And what are your other choices? And so if you know all of that, then you are of no excuse. And that's why I was of no excuse. I knew what my responsibility was. Even with that, I knew that I was going to parent my child, come high or low, whatever. And I was going to do it at the best of my ability, regardless if the other person agreed to do that with me. And so I would have those talks. And I really believe in educating our daughters how to advocate and command what you will and will not permit to go on with your body.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're the one that has to make that choice, whether to abort or to keep. You are left with the burden. So because that burden lies with you, you have a higher responsibility about how you advocate those boundaries around your body.
Yeah, I love that. One thing that made me sad about this video is how she said basically that her life was over. The way it sounded, like she was trying to end her life. She was trying to overdose. She's like, man, listen, the vision I had for my life, I gotta hang it up. That's what she said. It's over. Right? Dr. Sabrina, what do you think about that? I would say that it's not over. It's gonna be harder. I think I heard you say that, Dr. Felice, before. Like, there was, going, because at some point those kids grow older and they are a seed, and they are a blessing, they are fruit. Depending on the way you look at them, they could really you can have the next president as your baby. And right now it feels like, oh my God, they're in diapers. I got to take care of them. But what are you pouring into them? So I would, if this were your daughter, Dr. Sabrina, she felt like her life was over, what would you tell her?
Well, the vision, it depends on what the vision was for her life.
Yeah.
Actually, my question would be, did you think about that vision for your life before you made the decision to start having these children? And how did having these children play into that vision? Were the children a part of that vision? Because at what point did the vision come? You know, if she had the vision prior to having the children, were the children part of it? I mean, I guess I have to understand where she's going with this whole, what the vision for her life was. What,
Right.
to have the kids, have the guy, and live happily ever after? Is that, was that the vision that she's talking about that she had for her life? Now, that may change, that may have changed. Reality is now setting in. Things are difficult, but I don't think life is over just because you have children. Yes, it may be a struggle. Yes, you may have to, do some things that you did not see yourself doing. Yes, things may be different. And the reason why I can sit here and say that is I've seen too many people do it. I've seen too many people do it. But again, it is important when you find yourselves in that situation, you have to have help. You have to have a village around you. I know there are people that think, well, I saw my mom and my dad do it, or I saw my sister and my brother-in-law do it, or whatever, and they didn't seem like they had any help. They just did it. Trust me, they had some help. I have a spouse. We're doing it together, but I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that we did not have help. That would be totally disingenuous. I traveled for work. My husband traveled for work. We had to have help. So got to have a support system.
Yeah, I agree with that. It just makes me sad. What would you tell her to her vision if she saw herself with this young man? You know what I heard when she was saying, talking about, having these three kids and love not being enough. It's obvious that she was in love with this young man. And she was talking about taking the bare minimum. Oh Lord, what's happening? Constance is here. Okay. Her taking the bare minimum from her just to have a piece of him. What it sounded like she was saying, like, he just comes in when it's convenient. He comes in when he needs a little sex, or whatever it is that she's saying, when he needs me, is what she said. But otherwise, he's not connected to that situation. How can we encourage our girls to have that higher self-esteem that you were talking about? What things do we need to put in them early, so they don't sit in a situation where they feel like, I'm gonna have these kids, it's gonna make him stay with me, whatever the dream was. Like you said, Dr. Sabrina, I'm assuming she loved this person and she wanted him to stay.
So Tiara, let me just make up, because I saw some comments in the chat, and I do want to address this. It would be great. I'm not saying that she needs a village in lieu of having a husband. Please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. We're not talking about the ideal situation. Ideally, yes, she does need a husband, but we're talking about her right here, right now. And right here, right now, she doesn't have a husband. She's talking about the state that she finds herself in right now. So since she does not have a husband, what we are suggesting is that she does need some type of support system to help her where she is right now. Because the reality is, having three kids makes it even tougher for her now to have a husband. So I just wanted to clear that up. I'm not suggesting that she needs a village in lieu of a husband. That's not what this is.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, she's saying she's suicidal, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening, right? You can't get a husband right now, boo. You got to work on self. It's not even a season. Nobody wants to walk into the middle of chaos, right? And be like, okay, let me make it better. But I guess that's my question for you. What can be done at this point? What do you take someone like, what would you tell her, Dr. Felice? I know you said you couldn't really say anything unless she got her basic needs met before, but like, what do you tell young girls? So I'll just say, what do you tell young girls to keep their esteem, keep them out of these situations?
Tell them that, we've all made mistakes. We've all made choices, that we have these outcomes that we have to be responsible for, but that you are still enough, that there's still hope, and that this is temporary. I know that it looks like it's forever, but it is temporary.
That's right.
So now let's start pouring back into you in a way that builds up your tank so that you can go ahead and take care of these babies.
Yeah.
So first, one of the things that I do when I work with women around self-esteem is let's get to know who you are. What does it mean to be you? And then let's create who you want to become, because those two things are very important. Why? It's because when you know who you are and who you want to become, you're going to hopefully make choices that align with that vision.
Yeah.
Right? So I give people the example. You want to be a chef. Well, you're not going to go to a school and make choices that's for engineering or medical. You're going to make choices that align with the vision of you becoming a chef. That's
Okay.
why it's so important to know who you are. What are those things that make you you? Because once you start getting insight about who you are and learning that how you were created is enough, is one of the basic foundational things about that helps you to start recognizing and loving on you. And then when you can start creating a visual about who you are and how you want to evolve, those choices that align with that are going to start building your confidence. When you start building your confidence, you show up into spaces better. And those choices come along with you. And then the universe will start mirroring that you. And so I just do a real basic foundational thing about how you start training yourself to love you.
I love that. I love that. I want to go to some of these comments. I love that. I want to do that today. And I feel confident, but I love that. Even as an exercise for all of us, right? Do you have something to add to that, Dr. Sabrina, before I go to these comments? Because that was good. Oh, I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Go ahead to the comments. They're good.
All right. Black Lexicon says a lot of women in her position make future choices because of self-fulfilling trauma choices vocalized and projected by their own parents. What do you say about that, Dr. Sabrina? Is this a product of your environment kind of situation?
Sometimes it is. So think about the other side of that. The young girl that grows up in a household where there is no man, maybe the first guy that she comes in contact with that shows her attention, she feels, hey, somebody's showing me some attention. So it's kind of easy for her to find herself in a situation where she's vulnerable. And before she knows it, she has one child and then a second child and then a third child. And then she's on social media saying, hey, I got 3 kids and don't get married. Don't have kids because nobody helped you. I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah. Miat says, make life easy on yourself. Utilize the power of discernment and common sense. He lets you know you are not his wife material by not asking you for your hand and not following through at the courthouse. I'd have to say, like, after the first baby, if there were some red flags, if there were some things around, or, he didn't just have 3 children and then say, I'm not taking care of these kids. He was in and out. You was already in and out. So something makes me feel like maybe she thought that if I keep having children, keep doing, trying to do life and build this thing with this person, then maybe they'll say, what would you say to that? When a man is not showing you, Dr. Felice, that he wants to be with you. You've had his first baby and then you had his second baby. And we don't know if any of these kids are twins. I'm hoping they're twins because I don't know how you can have 3 kids and they all be that young. But at what point do you tell her to stop and kind of evaluate? Like, is it before she starts to have babies at all? We not married. Or is it after the first baby? Or what would you say?
I always say start at the foundation before, right? We want to be proactive, not reactive. We want to be preventative, right? And so my goal is to start teaching these girls younger than that and to believe people when they tell you something in the beginning. Believe them, because men are not like us.
Yeah.
Women talk and don't mean half the stuff they say. Men mean exactly what they say. Okay. They are black and white. And so you believe men when they tell you something, and when they show you who you are, believe them, but we also cannot dismiss the power of trauma. Because trauma, a lot of times, untreated, unhealed trauma, has the power of repeating patterns, very toxic, unhealthy patterns. And so if somebody doesn't come in and help interrupt and pivot and help heal some of those past traumas, people with severe trauma repeat patterns and they don't know how to get off that Ferris wheel. And so I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that a lot of things that we see is from people not getting help or somebody interrupting a pattern and shifting it for them so that they can now learn how to do new patterns.
Yeah. Y'all, this has been such a good conversation. Our time is already up, but I literally could talk about this for the rest of the day, right? We could sit here for hours and talk about this because I just think it's so interesting with me having a young daughter that we're always pouring into her. You know, our conversations are different. My daughter at this point is like, I'm going to Howard. You know, we just started high school last week, right? And already her mind in 8th grade was on going to Howard. You know, her dad has her on campus on the yard. She's like, yeah, I got to go here. You know, whatever, and then she's like, I want to study abroad. I want to go to Japan. I mean, these are all things that I think it's a blessing that unfortunately, a lot of our young girls don't. I don't know how their mothers are talking to them, letting them know what's possible. Because most of the time, I'm like, yeah, boys, but there's a whole world out here that I want you to see before you sit down and decide it's over and I'm gonna settle here and make a family, because it's a choice. It's going to change your life. So I'd rather you see the world and see what life has to offer. Work on this television, do Broadway, do all the things that you want to do. And us telling her every day that you can do them. It's you are talented. It's easy for you. This is easy. Use all these gifts, girl, before you do that. So my prayer is that every young girl feels like at a young age that she can do and she can be anything. I mourn the loss of that young lady's future, whatever she thought it was going to be, whatever she thought her life was going to be at 23 and is not. I pray that she finds her way back to that. Maybe it won't be that same version of life, but she's able to still experience life, the beauties of life and not just hardship all the time. Like I hope that for all of us that we get to, experience joy in life and not just experience, these hard things and being in poverty and not having anything and, like that being the story. And so, with that being said, my name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood. I'm going to start these final thoughts because this has been a meaty conversation. I'll start with you, Dr. Sabrina. What say you?
I think there are definitely some conversations we need to have with our young Black girls, but there are also some conversations that those of us who are mothers and fathers of sons need to have as well. It is not right. I'm not going to say fair, but it's not right that our women should continue to have to bear these responsibilities alone. It takes two to create a baby. Two. So a lot of these parents, there are some conversations you need to have with your son. If he can lay down with a girl and procreate, then he should also be required to step up and take responsibility. It works both ways. It shouldn't just be on the girls. And that's a conversation in and of itself. I have sons. I don't have daughters. So I want to have conversations with the young men. That's where we need to go with that, because the reality is a woman can only carry one pregnancy. I didn't say one child, one pregnancy at a time. A man can have 50 women pregnant all over town at one time. So it's just some conversations we're going to have to start having across the board. That being said, I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted. I am so excited and so delighted to be here with these other queens on the Fly Nubian Money podcast. If I can help you in any way with your life and legacy plan, please give me a call or look me up on social media at I Am So Noted. That's IAMSEWNOTED.
Y'all, I've been working on my version of that. My name is Miss Black Hollywood. I am a storyteller and a dream teller. Listen, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I love that so much. What do you say, Felice? What are your final thoughts?
So my final thoughts is I'm gonna go back to something Constance said. We gotta know what real love is, right? Sex does not correlate love. And what do I mean? I mean love in a holistic sense. Love of responsibility for another human being, that just to lay down with them selfishly, not considering what the outcomes can be, not just for you and yourself, but the babies that can come afterwards. Let's do love accurately. And so when we do love accurately and we don't think just about ourselves and our immediate needs and fleshy gratification, but when we really love people and what it means for them and our choices, we're going to start to do things differently. And I hope that as a whole, that we spread that, because love is the answer and covers a multitude of sins, right? So I am Felice Hightower Britt, your B.Big.coach. Oh, yeah. And you can find me on www.thebebigcoach.com. Please reach out to me. I would love to help you figure out who you are, who you want to become, and how you can align your choices properly. Please, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Make sure you check these queens out. And of course, don't forget Constance. She's at I Am Constance Carter across all platforms. Make sure you check her out. You already know the queen is amazing. So that is our conversation for today, y'all. We want to thank some people that have come through. Anonymous, I wish you would have pulled up on us in Atlanta. We was talking about you. We were talking about you, surprisingly. Like, I wonder if Anonymous here. So so next time we're in Atlanta, you got to pull on up on us. But we appreciate you, Double A, Black Lexicon, Kira Clark, Deborah Wynn. C White, y'all come through every single day. Tamisha, Larry Box Jr. We appreciate you. We appreciate y'all. There would be no show without you all. We are so blessed to share this time with you every single day. And with that being said, we will see you tomorrow, same time. Who says same bat channel? We'll be here. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. We love y'all. Bye.